So I remember the year 2018. I was in my Barak-like hostel. I was just remaining as somebody who has a burden for his immediate community, that is Modakeke. So I was just thinking of Modakeke of the past, the present, and the future because I am a person who is of the education line. So I asked myself, what is the issue? Reported cases of students engaging in examination malpractice and even parents involving themselves even in examination malpractice for their children and their wards, teachers who are joyful to involve in them in malpractices because of probably because of financial gains or monetary inducements, and even school administrators because of the gains that are there. So I thought to myself, this is a particular rot that has permeated the educational system. So what is the solution? So I sat down and I felt like I cannot continue to talk about the problems alone, that we need to do something towards changing the status quo. And then the idea of Prince Prevarsity came. Even the name came instantly. The idea came instantly. The name came instantly. So I felt like, okay, yeah, we cannot continue to talk and talk and talk about this thing. Can we have an alternative? So why Prince Prevarsity came on board was because we needed an alternative. That we needed, of course, remedial institution known as tutorial center in our area that can actually position ourselves to defend educational integrity, and that's one of the reasons why we came with the idea of Prince Prevarsity. And when we started, I remember that in that 2018, towards around mid 2018, thereabout, I went to meet my patriarch in the faith, my of course, he's an education administrator. So I went to meet him and I spoke to him about the idea that came that I wanted to start something, and he asked me a particular question. He asked me, said, do I also want to get myself involved in examination malpractice, what we call Udu? Sometimes we have names that call it, because sometimes we call them logistics and the likes that. Do I also want to get myself involved in that? Is that why? I said no. That even it was because of that reason that we are coming to stand against that position of examination malpractice that has permeated our society. So we had some other charts along the line, then we left. That was 2018. I remember 2018, we're looking for places, we're looking for particular location, we couldn't get, and of course, we love the idea. So I shaped the idea. I didn't abandon, but shaped the idea because I was actually hoping that, okay, let's see, probably there will be a kind of change. And but until 2021, there was no alternative. So in 2021, one of those days in around, like sometimes around the last week of January in 2021, so I brought the idea back. Of course, in 2020, the idea came back, so I brought the idea back to them. Of course, I adjusted them, so I brought out the notes, and then I looked into why is Prince Prevarsity coming on board. And I felt like there's no resources to get Prince Prevarsity on board. There's nothing because everything just seems like and of course, although I had a job proposition from a particular organization, but I felt like even if I'm starting something like then I have to shelve then it of course to affect the job that I have just gotten. But I have a passion for my community. I have a passion for the society. I just want a status quo change to raise a generation of learners who will imbibe in themselves reading culture, who will be able to see it and do the examinations themselves, of course, so that in the future they'll be very proud of themselves. Just like myself, I remember when I was in when I did my own my own O level, and of course UTM, I always tell people that nobody except God in heaven, but nobody on earth helped me in my examination hall. My teachers did what they could do before the examination. Those days in classrooms, they taught me. So I got to the examination to prove what did they teach me. And we thank God the rest is story today. So towards the end of January 2021, the idea came back. So I felt like, okay, if we're bringing this thing back to the table, then we need the resources. We need money, of course, to rent a place, we need money to get the place stocked, even with chairs, boards, and the basic things that we needed. Of course, in our office space, so we felt like, okay, what would be the solution? So I remember that, of course, you tell me tutorials have commenced even at that point. In this area, people have already been going, and towards then, yeah. So in that January 2021, I didn't have the money. I had to go borrow the money. Yeah, you heard me right. I had to go borrow money. I had to take all my savings, borrowed money, just get the place. As at the time we'll be starting Prince Prevarsity in 2021, or the 1st of February 2021, I couldn't even, at the time we'll be starting, let's say a week before we started, we didn't have a location yet. So it was along the line. So I went to withdraw my savings, borrowed money to just get things established. And to God be the glory, we got a place, so we quickly went to pay for the place. The place was in a shambles, was in a very bad situation. So we did some renovations, did a lot of things, and then, but I didn't have the plan of starting on the 1st of February because what I was talking about, I was just talking about something like maybe around January 25, January 26. So it was just almost. Then around January 28th, after we were done with the renovation, around January 29, when we're done with the renovation, there's nothing we could do again. So I felt like, okay, what's next? Then we need chairs. Of course, I had contracted and God bless him. And if he's watching this video, Pastor Nick, I want to say thank you, sir. God bless, because it was really of great motivation. I spoke to him that I needed chairs, and he just told me, okay, let's make at least a few that we can make. So I only gave him a very little amount of money, and I said, okay, please, we need a board, we need things, we need. So he said, okay, let's make. So he put himself in that and he told workers, he told them to get to work, and then they started giving us that. They produced, they made some chairs for us, some tables, and then we got them. Of course, he made the office table. Because this is just like some days to the 1st of February. So I remember that I was speaking with one of my boys who incidentally was the first student we had. I just told him that, because I already told him I had that idea before. So I just told him, so we were just talking. And then I remember that my mom, my mom, who were just talking. And then they said, that idea that you said you have, do you know you can start next Monday? And we were talking about a Wednesday preceding that Monday. He said, do you know you can start that next Monday? I said, next Monday, okay. Start. He said, well, it's possible for you to start. And that was actually where we had the chairs. That was what led to even producing the chairs and like. So I said, so I took up the challenge that, we can start next Monday. So that was how I went to meet with Fradria the call. That's the people who made the chairs for us. So that was how I meet with them. And then he, of course, like I said, it was of great help. So produce the chairs for us I made everything easy for us. The very first day we started with just one student. It was so funny. We just kick started. I was the only teacher. I was the only teacher that day. So I thought, of course, this guy was a science student, so there was nothing I could do. But I remember I taught him. So that day I taught him English language, taught him some other things, of course. We just put some things together, and then the day ended. The second day we came again. It was just myself and him. We came again. Everywhere was so boring. So we came again, and then I still had to teach him. So I taught him the little we could. We engaged ourselves on questions. We drilled ourselves somehow, and then we left. And then the third day, so one of my students who had taught before then joined us. Of course, he was an art student, so we did that also. We did some general classes, and then eventually we were just going with that. And then eventually, so I started looking for tutors. So we list the announcements for tutors. So people applied, and and of course, this is I would say very big thanks to everyone who was part of us from the very beginning. That why I said we're still in our beginning stage, because we're still in our foundation stage. Of course, this is just 3 years, so we're still in our foundation stage. But I want to say very big thanks to everyone who was part of the story from the very beginning. They really made people really made effort. No, we had a lot of people that didn't believe in us. No, we even till date we still have. Of course, it happens. We had a lot of people who did not believe in us. Hey, it happens. Like even people who are very closer to us, like who are very very closer to even me as a person, who didn't believe in me, who didn't believe in what we have. Probably just thought, what are they doing? Probably because we don't have a big name, they just thought, oh, what are these guys doing? But we thank God that when we, of course, people started applying to teach, and then we had to tell us how much are we paying, how much are we going to pay, but we still have to pay, of course. So, but I was doing bulk of the job. I was doing bulk of the job, and we started, and all of that happened. I remember that he was just teaching mathematics, so he come in, we teach them mathematics. So he was my friend, so we come around, teach mathematics, I teach English, and that tutor's taking physics, and another taking, all of these, we combined all of these efforts. The result of our first set of students were very exciting and motivating, and today we thank God all of them in the various institutions just about to graduate, and they're like, so we really thank God for that. It was very funny to us that out of that thing, because like I always been saying, our motto majorly is distinction with godliness. So all we do, we believe that there's only just one factor. God is the factor. So and God has really been honoring Himself. In this same place, we had student was called 301 in UTM. You heard that right? 301. We have students who scored 278. Even as a matter of fact, one of the things we do is we give students benchmark. So we'll tell them this is the score you. So all of them work towards individual benchmarks. So we have students who scored 270, 280, and to God be the glory, the students are spread across various institutions to the various universities, and a few of them in various polytechnics in today. Now, when you ask me the challenge so far, I think I once said it before that number one, the major issue we had was people's belief. Do people really believe in us? When we started, I remember that everyone, those who were very close to me, they won't even look at us once. They believe that what are they doing in one corner of Modakeke? What are they doing in one place that looks like, of course, people were more about, they were more about people who made noise. Well, it's actually good. It's part of advertisement that you make noise. But what I always tell our students is, we're not concerned because of the motive that we have. We are not concerned about the huge number of students. We're concerned about the huge number of values we can offer. That's why when we still say that today, that we don't discuss price, we discuss value. What is most important to us is not the money, it's not the number of students. Well, that is good, but it's not the number of students, it's the number of values we can offer. When students leave, what can we be proud of? And we thank God. And of course, in the past 1 or 2 weeks, we're reading reviews from our ex-students, we've been reading reviews. And of course, when I was just sitting in the corner of my room when some reviews started coming, I was like, oh, this is very good. And let's push these reviews to the public. And that's how we have those reviews. Of course, you would have read the reviews. You would have read what our students have said about the Prince Prevarsity. But we thank God. We had issues, of course, finances. More bulk of the money was coming from my pocket. But when you want to change a status quo, you will have to pay some sacrifices. A number of people we've had issues of parents coming and telling us, please, what help will you offer to my student, my child who is going to write this examination? And I will be like, I'm sorry, man. The only help I can offer is I will make sure that your child is being taught well, prepared well, so that he or she is already equipped to go and write the exam independently. And I can't count the number of parents that have gone with their children. They won't even let their children stay. If I can't count the number of students who come and because we told them, hey, there's nothing like what we call Udu in simple parlance, there's nothing like what we call examination malpractice. So a number of them won't stay. They won't even stay. They just tell you, okay. Even some of them will even. The funniest part is some of them won't stay. a day, and then when you've closed for that day, that's the last time you will see them. But it's still fine. We thank God that the number of students we could produce, we thank God that we can beat our chest and say, yes, these students had their results without the involvement of any logistics or any examination malpractice. So, and that's, of course, we are fulfilled. That's our aim. So, we're fulfilled. If you ask me how fulfilled I am about Prince Prevarsity, well, I am not fulfilled yet. I won't say I am fulfilled yet because we are still in our beginning, our days of little beginning. And the Bible says, despise not the days of your little beginning. So, however, I am joyful, I am motivated, I'm excited. I am really, really excited for the things we have done. The joy is when you see that you have an aim and this aim is getting achieved before your very eyes. Yeah, we cannot change the entire world in a day, but the little that we can do, we can. We have done that. So the little we can do, we have done that, and we are still doing that. And this is 3 years still standing on that principle. 3 years still standing on that policy. 3 years still standing on that soul commitment. This is it's something to be joyful about. It's something to even make noise about. I had a lot of people who told me that be deceiving yourself. When by the time you're done with 1 year, that's your commitment. Because if somebody told me that it's not about you, it's about the society. The society will even change you, will even shift your commitment, will shift you away from the determination you have, that goal that you are talking about, that goal that you are holding on to. But we thank God, this is 3 years and still counting. 3 years standing on God's faithfulness, 3 years standing in God, standing on that commitment through God. So it's something to make noise about. I am really excited. I'm really joyful. I am really grateful to God that at least we're getting fulfilled. Yeah, I think that's the word. We're not yet fulfilled, but we're getting fulfilled. And my prayer is that in the next few years, we have a society where you have students who can stand on their, who can do things independently. That's the aim. Making sure the students are well equipped to, and of course, and that is what is missing in our various schools and education institutions around. That is the exact thing that is missing. Parents are contributing to these teachers, education administrators, all of us. We have our part, we have our portion of the blame, we have our own share of this blame. But Prince Prevarsity is standing on that. No. We will not, because of money, shift our ground. No. We won't, because of anything, shift our ground. We've had people, parents that told us, oh, you won't see students. So even we've had people around that told us that, threatened us to tell us, oh, teacher won't come, you won't see this. And I've always been telling them, it is not about the number. It is not about the number of students that came. It is the number of values that were offered. So what amounts to achievement to us is the number of lives we have changed, the number of people that we have taught to stand on their own. We have taught, and of course, we have a lot of platforms we give our students. We make sure, even we don't just teach us, we mentor them. Because you want to shape a society, it is not just teaching that will help, it is mentoring. So we mentor them, we make them we help them choose so that they can have a path to follow in their life. So, and of course, and we believe that when they also grow, they will also have this the opportunity to also share this with their own children and those who are coming behind them, to also share that similar aim. So we are raising a generation of people who will take away the rot in our education system and bring in virtue. That's what we're standing for, and we thank God so far for how God has helped us. Well, who am I going to give thanks to except God? God is the author, the finisher, is the beginning and the very end. He is the one who has really helped us so far. There's nothing we could have done if God is not by us. For somebody to stand on a particular aim, despite the fact that we have a lot of distractions. I don't want to call them attractions, distractions around, but yet we're still stand. So I want to really thank God, because the results we're talking about that we had is not because we know how to do things well, but because God chose to honor us, and it will still continue to honor us. That's one thing I did. So all the glory to God. Also, thanks to our teachers, especially the ones who started with us at the very foundation of because they endured a lot. Oh my God, they had to endure a lot. We were just building. Yeah, although we had some who actually give us issue, the answer is always about their own money. But we have some teachers whose like their values cannot be eroded. Their footprints cannot just be erased from Prince Prevarsity. So I want to thank God for them. I want to thank them. I want to really say very big thank you to them. You've really done well. Like, I would say most especially, let me say very big thanks, most especially to Mr. Yekami. Mr. Yekami is a very good friend, and oh wow, he did well. He did well. He did well. So I want to really say very big thank you. Thanks to all our teachers along the line. Many of them, we've come across a lot of tutors along the line. They really helped us to sustain that value, because a number of times I'll tell them, hey, we don't reduce this value, don't reduce. Well, we thank God that a number of times some of them I will call and I will say, hey, no, I don't like this, I don't appreciate this, is what I appreciate. We did top notch with it, and we thank God, and they've always been doing their very best, and of course the result shows. So, like I always tell people, that we have proofs, there are evidence for us to show. So we have evidence to show, we have proofs to reveal to people that we are doing a very good job. And that's one of the reasons why we're very grateful to God, and I'm grateful. I'm very grateful to them, and also I would like to thank our students. They also made us proud, because when you are drilling students and they're not responsive, it becomes a problem. So I want to say thanks to all. I can't start to mention names. I can't start, because I don't know what exact names I will mention. So I can't start to mention. I want to say thank you to everyone, wherever you are, and the nations of the world, or wherever you are, even in various institutions in this nation. Of course, those who have traveled are there. So that's why I said nations of the world. So I really want to say very big thank you to, and thank you to everyone who believe in us. Even those who have not been students, they have not been staff, but they really believe. But no, I can always tell people, God blessed me with good friends. God gave me the very best of friends. So I want to thanks to all of you who have always been pushing, who have always been the councils, even they have been our mouthpiece. Some of them will send students through. I really want to say thanks to everyone. Thanks to every parent, people, every of our parents. I want to say very big thanks to you. And also, I know my list of appreciation will be endless, because I know there are people that I cannot even mention. People have done us a lot of good, and we cannot mention them. When they are, that we have an endless list. So I want to say thanks to everyone. Thank you for believing in us for this past 3 years, and we're still standing. Thank you for believing in us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for helping us. And I trust God that even in the next 1 year, we'll have greater achievements, we'll have greater things, and of course, we'll come out as a big brand. Like I will say, this is just our little beginning, and I thank people who have stood by us in the days of our little beginning. Thank you very much. God bless you.